Solid fish. Ooh. All right, today we are going to be talking about walleye fishing in the month of October. Let me get this walleye out here and give you guys a look. Nice solid fish right there. Beauty. Ate it good, came in and crushed it. But we're gonna be talking all about October. I'm gonna grab my pliers and I'll come back and I'm gonna share the first tip that'll help you catch more of these bad boys this month. There's one right on the bottom. So this time of year, I'm kind of looking at two different fish. I'd say three different types of fish actually. There's gonna be the deep structure fish, and that's kind of what I would consider this fish right here to be. Deep structure fish. You're gonna have weed line fish, and then you're gonna have just kind of fish that I would consider to be generally shallow. And what generally shallow means, that one actually bit. Oh, we dropped it. What generally shallow means is, you know, that might be a shallow rock pile. It might be a shallow sand flat. That could be 5 feet of water. It could be 8 feet of water, you know, anything like that. Those shallow fish can be in a number of different places, but this time of year, as the water temperature drops down really cold, you're gonna find fish in those springtime locations. So, you know, think of where you caught them on fishing opener and go recheck those spots. But in addition to that, you know, you're gonna find these fish that are dropping down into deep water. A lot of times, you know, think about your first ice spots. Where do you like to go ice fishing for walleyes? You know, big main lake structures, big points, kind of just, you know, so some of the steeper drop-offs, you know, sitting down on the bottom of those drop-offs is where you'll find them sometimes. But October, you know, you're still seeing suspended fish as well. So, but yes, I mean, if I'm going out and I just want to catch dinner, I'm going to probably focus on weed lines and stuff like that. Not to say you can't catch big ones on the weed line, but that's where I'm going to be focusing a lot of my efforts. But, you know, if I'm hunting for bigs, I'm looking suspended. I'm looking, you know, out off the edge on some of those deeper breaks as well. Sometimes those can be, you know, good spots to find eaters as well. It just depends on the lake. It depends on how it's setting up. But then up really, really shallow, sometimes you'll find hogs as well. So there's fish all over the place this time of year. All over the place this time of year. I kind of inflected that strangely. And I think a lot of times people get a little too locked into one pattern. I only fish the weed line, or I only fish, you know, out off the edge of the break and fall because all the fish dump out off the edge. And that's just not true. There's fish all over the place. So be flexible, because some days, you know, you'll have more success in certain types of areas than others. It is a walleye. It's a good one. That's a good one. All right. Let's talk some tips. There we go. All right, October. Tip I got for you for October is pay attention to the water temperature. Water temperature is key this time of year. Things are changing very quickly in October. I'm gonna go release this fish and we'll talk more about water temperature. All right, now here's the deal with water temperature. For me, I'm paying a lot of attention to it just because it's gonna be impacting the way fish are moving. Not only that, it's also gonna be impacting the presentations that work really well. And one thing that's unique about this time of year is that a consistent cold, I don't want to say cold snap because that's just the way the season is naturally progressing, but that's what it is. I mean, consistent cold temperatures where that would be a negative in spring or a negative in summer. In the month of October, that would be considered a very, very positive thing for the bite. He's got it. There we go. Should be a good under. All right, the next tip that I got for you here is, as you can tell, it's pretty windy out right now. And the next tip is gonna be to play the wind. Understand what's going on with the wind. This is a good eater size fish right here. There we go. So this time of year, I like to think about patterning fish based on the wind. Some spots will set up better when wind are blowing on it in a certain direction. Like for instance, right now, we are on the north end of a lake. We have a wind coming from directly behind the camera, south wind. And this spot right here, when the wind blows this direction, the way it sets up is you're gonna get the walleye stacking up on the wind blown side of this deeper trough area. So you're gonna find some unders, you're gonna find some bigger fish floating around still. Understand how the wind impacts different parts of the lake. I like to fish wind-blown sides oftentimes. I feel like that's gonna stack up bait fish. I feel like that's, you know, the fish are gonna follow behind it. This guy, by the way, I've been holding him here for about 1.5 minutes. It's because he's gonna be dinner tonight. So yeah, that's the next tip. Watch the wind. And when you're on the lake this time of year in October, just pay attention to where you're finding fish based on where the wind is, because you can pattern that across the whole lake. I'm gonna take this pattern, I'm gonna check out 5 or 6 different spots that set up kind of similarly to this spot, and I will probably find fish on this same wind-blown section of the spot. All right, next tip we got here. There we go. That's gonna be another one for the frying pan. The next tip is gonna be one that I think some of you guys are really gonna like, but I think some of you guys aren't gonna like this tip. But I promise you this tip will save you some money. All right, this guy is fighting a little tougher than his size. I can tell you that right now. Okay, here we go. I'm gonna hand land him. He's a little porkier than I expected. There we go. This would be on the bigger side of what I'd be willing to eat, but I kind of got a short little window here to get my harvest. So the next tip, you'll see, you guys will be surprised. Hope it fell into his mouth, but you guys will be surprised I caught that one on a night crawler. And a lot of you will think, okay, month of October, what does that mean? That means get your stinking minnows, rig, cast a jig in a minnow. This is minnow season. And while minnows do get better this time of year, and a lot of the reason for that is just the fact they're easier to keep alive in the cooler water. With that being said, the nightcrawler bite does not die. So my advice to you would be to save some money. Minnows are extremely expensive, stupidly expensive. Save some money, still get some minnows, because some days you might find that it's just truly a minnow bite in the month of October. But a lot of times what you're gonna find out is that you can catch them not only on minnows and not only on stuff like night crawlers, but also you can get them on leeches and you can get them on plastics. So October is the month for me when plastics really come back into play really hard. You know, a lot of the lakes where I fish, the fishing can be pretty difficult. These fish are heavily pressured, clear bodies of water, but fall is when the plastic bite fires back up, because spring you can definitely get them on plastics, even on really hard to catch walleye fisheries. But fall is when that fires back up. So get your plastics ready, get your night crawlers ready. You could throw some leeches in there, you don't have to. Get a few minnows, but don't go and spend $120 on minnows, because a lot of times you don't necessarily have to have them. And if the bite is so good that you're gonna spend that much money on minnows, they're probably gonna bite something else. So just have the minnows as an emergency form of meat. Got him. There we go. By the time we drifted over to him, we were all the way, it's basically right under the boat. It's kind of cool. So I guess then my next October tip is gonna be, ooh, that'll eat. That'll eat. That's a nice sized under right there. My next October tip is going to be just as simple as one of the coolest ways to catch them this time of year. And ironically enough, it's not how we're catching them in this video. I just dropped my mic, I'll hold it here for a second. Ironically enough, it's not how we're catching them in this video, but one of the coolest bites that's happening this time of year is the fall nighttime trolling bite. I'll talk about that in a second here after I put this fish in the live well. All right. Okay, so one of the coolest bites of the year, you know, any season, is that spring trolling bite. And you can basically do the same thing in fall once we get far enough into the fall. And usually October is the month, you know, when you're seeing the most dramatic water temperature dropping, and you're seeing fish kind of push up into shallow water to feed. So nighttime, grab your crankbaits, whether that's a long minnow style crankbait or a shad shaped crankbait, and put that back and just troll over or along weed edges, over, you know, super shallow weeds, trolling over the top of them. In addition to that, you can troll over sand. Side imaging is your friend when it comes to nighttime trolling, in that you can see a good distance out off to your side. You can see if there's marks. You see a big pot of marks on side imaging, drop a waypoint there, keep moving through the area, and just keep track of where you're seeing those fish so you can run your crankbaits through. But nighttime trolling is really fun. You know, I've done some of it with my buddy Brett McComas, and it's just fun kicking back, hanging out, letting those crankbaits run. Oftentimes, you know, you can just use iPilot with your trolling motor and have it follow the contour, but that is a really cool bite in fall, just like it is in spring. It's the same kind of deal, and it's a great way to catch some enormous walleyes. It seems like it's a big walleye pattern. You can also get, dinner out there, you know, some fish for the pan, but if you want to catch a big one, nighttime is the right time, and trolling is a really fun way to do it. All right, that's all we got for you in this video. Thanks for watching all the way to the end. Some good October fishing tips that'll put some more walleyes in the boat for you. Winter is just around the corner. Honestly, I'm starting to get some of my ice fishing gear dialed in and ready. So not gonna lie, I'm getting pretty jacked about that. I don't know why. Some of the best fishing is just around the corner here, so I don't know why I'm getting so excited. Some of the best fishing of the year is right now, the month of October. So I'll definitely be fishing still, but I got some sled modifications I want to do, and just looking forward to a good hard water season too. So thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next one.